Finally, Daredevil, Netflix, it happened, it's here, created by Drew Goddard. We've been wanting it deeply inside of our hearts for some time, and they announced they're making a Netflix series, and it's like, okay, when Marvel got bought by Disney, you're thinking, you know, it's huge because they're going to do all this stuff, but where's the Punisher, the rated R, the darkness, the good, just deep Marvel Knights type shit, and Netflix is the answer. It's the answer.
It's there. Daredevil would be the equivalent of what Batman is to the DC universe. He's this tortured guy. He walks the fine line between evil and good, trying to be justice and balance, but he's Catholic too, so you know how that shit is. It wasn't the frosted tips Ben Affleck that looked like the last member of LFO that didn't get at it. Like, I was always wondering that dude. I watched the cinema. Like, why did he have frosted? Like, if you're blind, why the fuck would you have frosted tips?
I don't know. I just wish that the only thing I don't like about the series, and I love the series, is that he didn't wake up in this like pit filled with water to cover his
face. Dude, I know.
They did it right. They gave it the rated R feel. They've got some gratuity. It's not a tip. They got some grotesqueness to it. They got this darkness to it, and they really did do this shit right. For me, dude, it's a big fuck you to shows like Gotham. Like, I know a lot of people like Gotham or whatever, but I just feel like that's a money ploy.
I will not go near that.
If you're gonna take a superhero series, they're gonna make a series about fucking Krypton without Superman. If you're gonna take a Superman or a superhero story, and you're not going to put the superhero in it, then go fuck yourself. They took Daredevil, they gave you the meat and potatoes, they made it rated R, they did it right. 13 episodes, I watched that shit in 2 days, and I know a lot of you guys watched it. It hurt deeply, it felt good, it was right.
When it was over, did you not like near the end when that music would come on? I love their theme music. Dude, I wanted to stand up and feel like I'm Daredevil. I feel like I was like, I'm gonna be blind. I'm gonna be Matt Murdock. This show makes Arrow and fucking The Flash look like Disney slapped Mickey Mouse.
Well, listen, Arrow's a badass show, but this takes Arrow and it says, hey, what can you do if you make it rated R and you do it right?
He fires arrows.
For me, what set it off? Episode 1 was good, but episode 2 for me was just like fucking nailed the hammer in. They don't really go through the generic origin story. They kind of tell it slowly and perfectly. The writing.
Oh,
when he's in the confessional pit, I was going to say the booth. The writing is so damn good and it's so deep.
They're doing the backstory in the right way with the father and the relationship that built between those two, and how his father actually was like, I don't want you to be a fighter like me. Even though his dad could take a beating, but he never got beat. You know, he could get his ass whipped, but he won't go down.
Yeah.
And he was kind of give that at least to Matt, but he also wanted to say, Matt Murdock, I want you to be more than me. Don't just get punched.
It says it's not just superhero powers that came from some truck that leaks some bad shit. It's also like a character. Like it's in your humanity that you're a badass. You know?
Well, yeah, I mean that's what I mean. And then later on, it's so fucking weird, dude. They build on the backstory with the father, which is cool. I love that. And then they're building on the religious aspect of Daredevil, which is a huge part of the comic books that they left out in the movie almost. They had some of the Catholic stuff in it, but not as much as they should have had in it. Then they move on to Stick. In the movie, they glossed over it and they were like, oh, he learned himself, which made no fucking sense. He's a little kid that has no idea how to control these powers. He's like, I taught myself by listening to Seether. Like, it was just, it didn't make any sense.
So they're a good band.
They're a good band, but it's like, can you walk on walls? Karen Page is introduced into it, which is
she's good. She was in True Blood, and she was always just she's fucking hot as shit.
Karen Page does become a huge part of Daredevil's life, and actually, if they're going to go down that route where she becomes a heroin addict at some point, and she learns his identity, she even sells it out, his identity to Kingpin or people that work for the Kingpin for another smack.
Her character's deep, dude. It's deep. It's got a lot of layers to it, and that's what I love. That's the great thing you could do with a show when you do it like this.
That's a spoiler. It's like, I hope you guys. I mean, fuck me, right?
Ready.
Foggy Nelson.
It's weird.
I kind of like him, and then I kind of don't. Like, it's sometimes his jokes and the way his lightheartedness works out. I know what Foggy's supposed to be like, but Foggy it kind of comes off almost like Mr. Rogers.
It's the one thing from this show. It's the one thing from this show that I would probably take the movie Daredevil, Foggy Nelson over this.
I like that Foggy
Nelson. Favreau is the perfect kind of Foggy Nelson. He played that character to Iron Man, basically. But with this, I mean, it was the guy, and you're the same as me, since we both love the Butterfly Effect. We can think about is the kid from the Butterfly Effect. But sometimes he's kind of bitchy and annoying. Like, so I know that's the character he's supposed to play, and the guy did a good job. He acted well. I mean, he did a good job in it, but sometimes it's just, like, when he finds out that Daredevil's Daredevil, that whole, like, 3-episode arc, it was just like, dude,
oh my god.
It was like, dude, get the fuck.
Are you blind?
It was like, dude, get the fuck over it.
Yeah,
I know it, but still.
Well, I think that was one episode, and that felt like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Because they were just going back and forth between this whole dynamic between him and Foggy about, oh, you kept these secrets from me. At the same time, that could have been shortened down to about 10 minutes. Like, they could have shortened it down to where he was talking about you betrayed me, you didn't tell me what the most important part of your life was, you kept these secrets from me, and then he's like, I'm not going to be your friend anymore, and then Matt starts crying, which is a great emotional, powerful scene.
You thought so too? I thought it was terrible.
I liked it.
That's the one thing in this episode, when Foggy finds out that Murdoch is Daredevil or whatever, and it's supposed to be this intense, powerful thing, like, I get the emotion that's supposed to be there, but they are both, as good as they are in the series, dude, they're both really terrible criers.
No,
Charlie Cox is an awful movie crier. He was like, ugh.
No, dude, I felt his emotion.
Nah, dude, I thought it was really bad.
No, because
he looked like James Vanderbeek from Dawson's Creek when he was crying.
I don't want your life. If there was one person that I could ever trust in my life, and I've got all these other bad things going on in my life, it was Foggy, and now I betrayed Foggy, and Foggy said he's done with me. Like, I could see how that would emotionally impact somebody. And yeah, maybe it would be a little bit over the top. Maybe he didn't do it exactly the way
When it really landed for me is when he was talking to her, when he was talking to the girl, and he was like, I can't do this alone, and he started crying. Well, it landed for me then.
Well, I just thought that when he's walking out the door, I mean, this is a blind man who can't, I mean, he can see the world on fire. But, I mean, that was cool how they explained that. It wasn't like that weird retro, I'm on acid trip that they did with Ben Affleck, but I liked it when, you know, he's a blind guy, he's sitting down in this couch, and he's bruised up, and he's hurt, and he's alone, and Foggy's basically telling him, I'm not going to be your friend anymore, I'm not going to have life for you anymore, I'm done, I'm not doing it. And he's sitting there crying, like, you imagine that loneliness, you feel like the last person that you wanted to offend, the last person you wanted to push away forever is leaving. Like, that would be, you're alone. I mean, he would be, because they introduced Stick as like this one-man war on crime guy. Yeah. Like, that doesn't care about personal feelings. He doesn't care about, he's like, you're a pussy. I love that guy, though. He was like, you're a pussy.
He was great, dude, but at the same time, I felt like, I mean, Stick was great. Like, he did a great job, and I know that episode needed to be arced in there, but for me, and don't get me wrong, I fucking love this show, but I didn't care for it that much, because it was like he came in and he was gone. And it felt
But that's what, but I didn't mind that because that's how Stick was. Stick comes into Daredevil's life briefly and trains him and gets him on the right path that he needs him to be on, and then leaves and moves on because he said, I can't be around you because you make me weak.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
But at the end of the day, what was that? Did you notice this too? The kid that had the bark necklace on. Yeah. When he said, I caught up to him and killed him, he was like, I won't kill that kid.
Black Sky.
And then he's like, I caught up to him and killed him because you don't know what this kid's capable of. They never explained that.
I wonder if it's a mutant. But
did you?
No,
did I miss that?
I know it's a. I don't know if they're going with the mutant angle or maybe the Inhuman, because if they're going to tie it in with the, they can't use mutant because it's part of the X-Men series. Yeah. So maybe.
But I didn't miss that. You didn't an explanation either.
No, it was like a Black Sky. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just a kid. I don't know what that was about. Somebody in the comments, I'm sure will know from the comic books. And plus, who that dark, mysterious figure that Stick bowed before. Yeah. And he was like, is he ready? He was like, I don't know. It's like Ra's al Ghul. I was like, Ra's al Ghul, really? Is he here?
Again, as fucking Batman, now Arrow, now Daredevil.
But wouldn't it have been funny if it actually had been Ra's al Ghul? It's like, you're in the wrong show. The big one is Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin.
Right. When he smashed that dude's head in the car door, that was Kingpin.
That was awesome, yeah.
I mean, that was so fucking grotesque. And you can't do that with a Marvel movie. You can't do that with a show. You can't do that with an animated series. The only place you can do that is on Netflix.
This is the thing about Kingpin. Back in the day, which they were doing, with Daredevil being introduced to Kingpin and Kingpin being introduced as a new character, Kingpin was a lot more brutal, and he was careful, but not as careful as he later becomes when he ages and matures. In this one, they wanted to show that contained rage, that barely holding it together kind of guy, that soft-spoken, but if you fuck with his shit, he can't stand it.
They nailed that.
Exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. That is actually why I think they could have picked a better actor than Vincent D'Onofrio, because he has a perfect, a disarming quality to him that you can talk to him just like Vanessa does, his soon-to-be wife, as you know from the cartoon and the comic books. But she has that disarming way about him. But just like the guy that he smashed his head into the car door because he didn't want to use Allstate insurance. But after he did that, because the guy interrupted him at dinner and made people know that he was Kingpin.
And that's the thing about
not know that he was Kingpin, but don't use his name.
The only thing, the only thing for me that you could add to Vincent D'Onofrio's character would be largeness. He would be larger and more physically intimidating. But I don't care. The way that they tie that in, even Vanessa comes in, and they played it so perfect, dude. She was so, right-hand woman driving him to be worse. When they're standing out the window and they're looking at Hell's Kitchen burning, and she's like, I'm happy to be your first lady of this massacre. You know, I'm happy to be this for you. It was this team of just holy shit, you guys are fucked up.
Well, because
I loved it.
Eventually, Vanessa Fisk, you do find out that she's just as cruel-minded as, and maybe even more than Wilson Fisk, because Wilson Fisk is doing it out of a business-like way, rather than just a personal vendetta.
Well, just between me and you, okay? Between you and I, just like how you feel about it. Did you think he was too whiny?
No.
I didn't either. Some people complain about that, but I think it shows some depth to a character. It's not just like, I'm a bad guy and I'm a bad guy.
Yeah, he could have been a typical overlord in the shadows kind of mafia dude. Vincent D'Onofrio, perfect cast choice, great, loved him. Bagul.
Wesley, dude, I love Wesley.
Is great.
It sucks because I mean, when he gets killed, that was an intense scene where she kills him or whatever. I liked the scene, but it was at the same time it was bittersweet because it's like, oh fuck, he's gone.
Yeah, but
he's so good.
I did like that scene though because Wesley's like, do you really think I would give you a loaded gun? And she's like, fuck. It's like almost like his face was like, shit, she shot me. He's like, I thought she was gonna call my bluff.
That was Games of Thrones and shit. That was just deep and dark, and they were like, fuck you. And then Wesley, or not Wesley, but Leland, the whole show, Leland, and that guy is perfect for that character. He's just such an ass.
He's like a weasel.
You were kind of rooting for Kingpin at that point because you're like, fuck him up, and Kingpin was like, I will, and then he throws him in the elevator shaft, Emilio Estevez, Mission Impossible style.
But even that part, we'll go back really quick to when Kingpin was smashing that dude's head in with the car door. Wesley just says like, I wonder if I have to pick up my dry cleaning today. He knew that was going to happen, but he was okay with it. He knew that is how Kingpin is. But saying that, how great Wesley is, Leland was a great weasel character too, because you never really knew. I mean, he was asking for it every fight. He came in, he was like, well, we'll just let you handle it since you've done such a great job. And he was always pushing Kingpin, always picking him. And Kingpin was like, I said we'll handle it, Leland.
Then Daredevil uncovers the heroin angle, and that had to be hard for him because he's blind, and he goes in and he sees that they've blinded all these people. And that scene was deep, and it was dark, and it was whatever.
I knew though when he fucking confronted Madame Gao, she was going to do some Yoda bullshit. Yeah. I knew it, because she walks in that little cane, and all of a sudden she like karate kicks his chest and sends him to the fucking Black Bear Forest.
Okay, let's talk about the fighting scenes in this movie. Because from the second episode, I mean, the first episode it ends right with. At first, it's kind of Manila a little bit, whatever. But at the very end of the episode, when he finally gets the guy on the ground and they're trafficking these girls, and he's punching the guy in the face, and he doesn't stop. Yeah. You're like, this is deep and dark and gritty, and it's Punisher, and I love it. And then the second episode happens, and when he goes after that kid is where I really just, my fucking taint got locked up in this show, dude. You don't only have him talking to the priest and that great dialogue happening between them, but then he goes after this guy, and he goes after the guys that have the kid, and that continuous one-shot fight scene where he's like, oh, and then he goes back to fight again. He's like, God damn it, I'm fucking tired. And then, what? Mm-hmm. And he goes back to fight again. That was like True Detective. It reminded me of True Detective where they had the continuous shot. Dude, it was so fucking great.
It kind of reminded me of two things, dude. It kind of reminded me of the jokey thing in They Live. When Roddy Piper and the guy that played it in Iron Eagle, I can't remember his name. They keep going. Oh, he's like, fuck. And then he has like trash cans like, when will you die? But it also reminded me, you know what it also kind of reminded me, dude, in a way, like all the fight sequences, because it didn't really have that much dramatic music or Jason Bourne fight scenes. Yeah. Because he had that. And you just was waiting on a pin to go into his fucking. He's like,
it sucks because it crescendoed in the second episode. In the second episode, that one fight scene was the greatest fight scene in the whole show, except for maybe the Kingpin fight scene. We'll get to that. But I don't know, and I'm not knocking it because I could never do it better. I couldn't think of a way to do it better. But as the show went on, every time he had a fight scene, that kind of seemed repetitive to me. Like he'd do the spin kick, and then they fight, and he'd get beat up a little bit, and then he'd fight back a little bit. And I guess that's the only thing that you can knock on this for it being a 13-episode season.
I kind of felt like it was Mark DeCasco's Only the Strong. It's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it's like dancing, and then he keeps on kicking, but it's the same thing over and over again. But it works, and that's what, the ninjutsu shit. I love that they did that. They focused a lot in on that. Like, Daredevil's got these super senses, and he relies on those to do what he needs to do, but he's also a very, very competent fighter. I mean, I think only in the comic books it's like Iron Fist, Captain America, and then him, as far maybe Black Panther before him. But those guys are like the pure martial arts. And like in the movie of Daredevil, they really, I mean, he did some cool fight sequences, but not anywhere near that. Later on, though, he gets the little batons, and that leads on to the big ones.
Dude, the ricochet. When he threw it off the wall. The fight scenes were amazing and they were great. I mean, every once in a while they were a little bit redundant and a little bit repetitive. Like the suit.
Yes, dude, finally, yes. The last episode, just titled Daredevil, Everybody knew that was going to happen. I mean, I almost skipped to that episode. I was like, I must see this form. But when you work it up, when you get to see it, you know, watching every episode, and it's building, and it's building, and it's building, and then they even have a few episodes. It's like, I need another suit of armor that can stop knives, and you're like, oh fuck.
Did you think like I did that guy might be Bullseye when he threw the saw blade?
Yeah, in a way, but I mean, he was kind of slow, so I knew that.
He's like, you gotta protect Betsy.
He's like, will you protect her? Swear to God.
He's going to Betsy.
Charlie Cox is a testament to his acting ability, because when he beats the shit out of that guy that makes his suit for him, you know, and he starts crying, he actually goes to him, he's like, almost like he didn't say, I'm sorry, but I'll protect her. Like, he knows that the guy's not there, and he understands he's not an evil person. But anyway, nonetheless, when they build up to this big, giant climax where he has this final confrontation with Kingpin, and it all comes down, the dirty's out,
dude,
and he comes up in his suit, I was like, what the? I felt like the first time in Jurassic Park when they see the dinosaurs, like, dun, dun,
dude,
dun,
it was straight out of comics.
I know,
they
loved
took
it.
it straight out of the fucking comic books. That final street in the alley, it was just like, this is fanboy madness.
I know,
this is perfection.
But you know, and the thing is, with that whole episode, was not only did they show the badassness that Daredevil will be later on in the future seasons, and hopefully in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I hope they oh my God, they have to, and I hope he's in Winter Soldier 3 or whatever, Captain America 3, Civil War. But the fact that the cop, you know, their friend, finally shows up, and he doesn't know it's Matt Murdock, but just because he's like, he let him go that one time, he's like, you know, we've got Kingpin, and he lets him go.
Yeah.
Like, it is Batman in a way. It's really, you know, it's like, he's like Gordon. Yeah. He's like, I understand you're doing the right thing, but you're a vigilante, so I can't necessarily acknowledge it, but I'm going to let you go. That suit was badass. It wasn't the pure leather that Daredevil in the movie used. It wasn't anything like, you know, too latexy, SM.
There was a couple of things that were a little bit restricting.
It looked real. It looked like if you were, like, you know, everybody praises Nolan for the Batman suit because they said that was a real life person.
Yeah.
Because remember the slow guy that gave him the suit said the black parts will stop making the bullets.
It was really well explained.
It looked like a functional suit, which I liked about it.
And the suit was super badass. Plus, you tie that, it was a total geek boner, dude. Because it's not only the suit happens at the same exact time that you have Daredevil face off against Kingpin. The only thing I wish is that would have happened a little bit earlier in the episode. Because everybody knew that the suit was about to come, right? The suit's about to come. Everybody knew it, and then it was with like, I mean, were like me? Did you keep checking the time?
I know.
I kept looking. I'm like, how much are they going to give us? When they finally showed the suit,
like 10 minutes,
and then the fight between, and I was satisfied with it, but I still kind of wish there was a little bit more.
Dude, yes, I thought that too. At the end of the fight scene, it's like, imagine if this had been 5 episodes ago. Just, I mean, it could have been the same story, could have been the same fight sequences that they used with Daredevil earlier, but just if he had that suit on, it just takes to another fucking level.
Yeah.
Like, dude, when he stands in the alley confronting Kingpin because his fat ass is trying to jump the fence, and he's like, you can't fit. But he sits there and he puts his batons in his holster and he just stands there. He's like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you look fucking amazing. Can we have babies? Well, we can't because it's not possible.
It ends off with Kingpin's in jail. So it's almost like they're saying, hey, we can forget about him for a little while and go on to other Daredevil villains. Vanessa takes the ring and she's going to be the leader. She's great. I mean, she really tied in and fit that perfect spot really fucking well. She could be the villain in season 2, and then Kingpin. It's perfect, dude. How they tied it in, and he was faced with the white wall.
I don't know. I think they're going to leave Vanessa Fisk alone. They'll have her a little bit in there at a time. I think season 2. This is what my prediction is. It's Bullseye. I think they're going to introduce Bullseye hardcore all the way up to there. Maybe Vanessa hires him to come in and stalk Daredevil.
Because in this one they had 4 different villains.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think Bullseye's the big character. I mean, you know, Daredevil and him hate each other. They have this big, long history.
Yeah. I give this series a 9.5, dude.
Yeah, I give it a 10.
You think it's perfect?
It's perfect, dude.
I mean, I had my little problems with the repetitive fight scenes and stuff like that, but it is near perfect.
Yeah, I can't look at it. I mean, I could nitpick it. I mean, I could nitpick it, get to a 9.5.
I still love it too. I mean, 9.5 for me, 10 for Jay. What do you guys think? Comment down below. How did you experience this show on its first level? And what do you want to see on Netflix most? Punisher? I think that's going to be the answer. For us, it's fucking Punisher.
Punisher, you know.
Doing it shit right, dirty laundry style.
Oh, God, dude, that had to be HBO.
Yeah.
HBO, oh my God. I know it didn't reach...
Well, Netflix can do what they want.
Not that far.
Yeah, they can.
No, they can't. Because Marco Polo was dirty as fuck. They could, but again, dude, Punisher's owned by Disney. They can't push it that far.
Maybe I didn't think they could do this.
Yeah, but it's not enough where it's like tits. And
let us know what you guys think about that. Comment down below. Let us know. Until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm Jays.
And we'll see you guys.
Bye.
Or will we?
I can't see.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie.